All right, excellent. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on this very special evening. We've got people from Australia and New Zealand and who knows where else, but we welcome you all here. We're very glad you've been able to join us this evening. I just want to quickly introduce the two very special gentlemen that we have on the line this evening, and then I'm going to hand the time over to them. But we have with us a gentleman who is an industry genius. He's got over 25 years experience in this market. He is a very proven global leader. He has been mentored and taught and brought up by some industry legends. And he's one of the world's fastest growing leaders. He is also an honorary millennium. And
Yes.
We have with us this evening ASEA Ambassador Diamond Malcolm Sword. So thank you very much for joining us this evening, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And we also have with us a homegrown international sensation. He is on the ASEA Global Advisory Council. He is ASEA's 2016 Emerging Leader of the Year Award winner, the ASEA 2017 Entrepreneurial Spirit Award winner, the 2017 ASEA Business Builder of the Year Award winner. He is #1 ranked in Australia and #3 ranked ASEA associate in the entire world. He is doing in just 3.5 years what has taken some people over 9 years to do in this organization. So we're very grateful to have our friend and enormous leader here, Dan Doyle, ASEA Ambassador Triple Diamond. Thank you so much for being on the call, my man.
Thanks, Stevie. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you. And congratulations, Malcolm, the newest Ambassador Diamond on the whole planet. You've done an amazing job in such a short period of time. We're also proud of you. We thank you for the work that you do, the mentoring to us, the training for us, and your experience in the industry. As you know, going back to 1910, we really appreciate everything you do.
I was waiting for that to be slid out. Hey, Doyle, you can call me Mal, mate. You just call me not Malcolm. Anybody calls me Malcolm, it reminds me of when I was a naughty little boy, and my mother used to say, Malcolm? And I thought, well, what have I done now? So you can call me Mal, Doyle.
All right, Mel. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And huge thanks to you. You know that you kind of have given us all such a great start. So I'm just trying to keep up with you. You're a tough act to follow.
Mate, you're an asset. I mean, you've built your business so fast. I mean, there's people that you've touched that you don't even know. People's lives have been changed and saved, thousands of them in a very short period of time. So we all really appreciate what you're doing.
I'm back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So we've got a lot of people on the call this evening. Just to let you know, folks, if you would like to make a comment or ask a question to any of these geniuses, there's two ways you can do that. You can raise your hand. There's a button on your screen, or you'll be able to raise your hand, and I'll be able to turn on your microphone so you can actually speak with us. Or if you'd rather talk instead of text, then you can just do that in the chat box, and we'll be monitoring that, and we'll be able to read your questions out or comments for you. But look, I want to hand it over to you two gentlemen this evening, and I'm sure some questions will come up. I've got some questions too, but basically this evening, we wanted to use this as an opportunity for, of course, existing associates to get additional training. But we also wanted to use this as an opportunity for us to reconnect with some people out there, both in Australia and New Zealand. So this session, we really want to be able to reconnect with you guys, re-strategize with you, re-energize, and learn exactly what it is that we have to have in our pack to be able to climb the ASEA ranks mountain. So I'll hand that over to you.
Just quickly, Stevie, there may be some new people which may have slipped onto this call. Can you just go over and give us a bit of a rundown of what we got our hands on before we kick off?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So look, what we're in the process of doing is rolling out a very exciting, disruptive cellular and genetic healthcare therapy into the global markets. Now, I can tell you that this is not a drug or a hormone. It is not a vitamin, mineral, or antioxidant formula, and it's not secret herbs, spices, exotic berries, fancy juices, super shakes, essential oils, magic magnets, alkaline waters, laser lights, roots from magical 5,000-year-old tree, lotions, potions, gadgets, and blah, 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 blah. We've heard it all before. I'm not making fun of any of that stuff. You know, I am an avid user of a lot of those things, in fact, but I just want to be crystal clear that what we have is an entirely new breakthrough, never seen before, never done before, a groundbreaking, category creating breakthrough, and it is having a significant impact on changing, bettering, and even giving people their lives back. We're using a technology called Redox signaling molecules, and unless you are from the medical profession, we wouldn't imagine that you've ever heard of that before, but it is a very significant breakthrough. A lot of scientific validation behind this breakthrough. In fact, many medical experts and scientific experts too are calling this the single greatest medical health and anti-aging breakthrough of all time. It's a big statement, but as I said, there's a lot of scientific validation behind that. This is a real deal breakthrough. Now, considering some of the things I've just said, you might be thinking to yourself, well, if it is the real deal, why is my doctor not telling me about this? Why instead is this devilishly handsome stranger trying to introduce this to me? And that's fair enough. I am devilishly handsome. That's a good observation. But it's also a fair enough question. And the answer to that is that this technology was never actually supposed to be shared in this fashion. It was supposed to become a pharmaceutical product only. However, when this was shown to the drug companies with, by the way, tens of millions of dollars worth of science validating it, and on top of that, hundreds of people already using it who had issues with their health that doctors had even given up on. So this was shown to the drug companies. When the drug companies saw what this breakthrough was doing and replacing, they were willing to pay very, very, very big money to buy it all up just to shut it all down. They literally said to the founders that they were making this offer to, if you want to do the deal with us, you're going to need to shut down production and take everybody off it. This is a technology, redox sealing molecules. If you've never heard of that before, I'm going to give you a very quick and very simple and easy to understand explanation. I'm not going to get all sciencey and complicated because I myself am not that smart. But redox sealing molecules are something that are very real. They're inside of you. Your body is making them right now. In fact, everything that is alive on this planet makes them too. Doesn't matter whether it's you or an animal or even a plant. If it's alive, it is made up of cells. If you think of any body part right now, doesn't matter what body part you're thinking of, it's made up of cells. Every single part of you is. And every healthy cell in the body is making these things called redox signaling molecules. Now, what redox signaling molecules do is kind of what their name suggests. They send signals. They send communications. They allow your cells to be able to talk to the 75 plus other trillion cells that make up you. So all those cells can talk properly, work properly, and therefore allow our bodies to work properly. Redox signaling molecules will detect, for example, which cells are healthy and tell those cells to protect themselves, to maintain their health and longevity and stay alive. And that's important since that's what we're made up of, right? And at the same time, redox molecules will detect which cells are unhealthy and tell those cells to repair themselves. If they, however, though, detect an unhealthy cell that is too damaged to be repaired, they will then tell that damaged cell to destroy itself and then tell a healthy cell to copy itself and replace that lost cell. So this function that I've just tried to explain to you right here is how your body regenerates tissue. It's your healing factor. And it is the most foundational function of health that we have. Because when we have a proper balance of redox signaling molecules, we therefore have proper functioning cells, which create proper functioning tissues, which create proper functioning organs, which create proper functioning systems in the body, which ultimately creates a healthy you. So we literally live and die at the cellular level, and the thing underpinning the health of all cells in the body are these things called redox signaling molecules. Now that's not all, but wait, there's more. Redox signaling molecules actually affect your genetic expression. They tell your genes how to express. Redox signaling molecules are the immune system's weapon of choice. They will seek to destroy viral, bacterial, and fungal infections by calling in the immune system to do so. The good food that you eat, the only way that your cells know what good goodness to draw from those that food is why redox healing molecules telling them what to do. Redox healing molecules activate antioxidants in the body. Big buzzword in the health industry, but antioxidants don't work, in fact, unless you have redox healing molecules activating them. Redox healing molecules, stem cells, that's another exciting area of science. A lot of people are spending a lot of money to go and get stem cell therapy, but the only way that stem cells know what to do, where to go, what to turn into, is if they have redox molecules telling them what to do. So everything in the body, here's the point, everything in the body relies on redox healing molecules telling it how to operate. If you were to shut down your production of redox molecules right now, you would age within seconds. You'd be dead within just a few seconds after that. They're literally critical and crucial to your life. Now, when we're born, we produce an abundance of redox healing molecules. That's why one of my little rabbits here has an abundance of energy. He can run around all day, jumping up and down on his bed, jumping up and down on our couches, jumping up and down on the trampoline when his mum kicks him outside, kicking the ball, wrestling, climbing trees, all of that physical activity all day. Then he goes to bed at night, sleeps like a baby, wakes up in the morning and he's not sore from all that exercise. He's ready to do it all over again. It's because he's producing such a huge amount of these molecules, which is detecting, repairing, replacing all of that damage as it occurs. However, as time goes by, and as our bodies are, assaulted by environmental stresses in our personal and professional lives, et cetera, our body starts to produce fewer and fewer redox healing molecules. By the time we hit puberty, we're losing about 10% production of these molecules every few months. And so that's why we start to show the signs of aging, why we start to feel the signs of aging. It's why we get sick and injured far easier and take longer to recover. Because as redox healing molecules in our body declines, of course, by default, what increases is cellular breakdown, cellular dysfunction, cellular mutations, cellular abnormalities, and that leads to some very serious conditions. By the time we're 70 years old, we're producing only about 5, maybe at best 10% production of these molecules, so only 10% compared to what we used to produce in abundance when we were babies. That's why there'd be such a dramatic healing factor, a difference in the healing factor between the elderly and the young. So hopefully that little crash course has made sense so far, because here's the point of trying to give you a quick snapshot of what redox healing molecules means. What an atomic medical physicist by the name of Dr. Gary L. Samuelson has been able to do, he's been able to do something that he shouldn't have been able to do. He's been able to do something that science said would be impossible to do, but he has been able to create and stabilize redox healing molecules outside of the body in perfect balance, bioactive exactly the same way as they are found inside of healthy cells, so that we can get those life-giving molecules back into our bodies to levels of abundance like we had when we were babies. So we can get that same life back, that same healing factor, that same vigor, that same vitality, so that we can look, live, feel, and heal healthier, younger, for longer. So that is what is in, and all that is in these bottles of drink called ASEA. Nothing but trillions and trillions and trillions of these stabilized, native to your body, redox healing molecules that I've just tried to explain to you. And that is all that is in these tubes of gel called Renew 28. This is the gel, this is the drink. This is the ASEA drink I just showed you, turned into a gel so that we can put it onto our bodies on topically. And it is the drink 8 times concentrated. So, as I said, it's being hailed as the missing link to healthcare practice. It's being hailed as the single greatest health science breakthrough of our lifetime. It's because according to doctors and scientific experts, it's spearheading some of the greatest advancements we have ever seen and will ever see again in healthcare history. And they are saying that this is going to become the #1 premier healthcare technology of the future. So welcome to a quick introduction to ASEA.
Thanks, Stevie. If you don't mind, mate, I'm going to ask Mal a question or 2 or 3.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Mal, just wondering, what do you think the importance is of personal development, somebody growing, plugging into calls like the one we're on, and attending events?
So, good question. So, thank you for that. That's a leading question. So, the #1 builder of the ASEA business in the whole world, a lady called Trish Swankler, said at a function somewhere recently, might have been in Taiwan, that really building a business like this is a personal development program, and that we wrap it around the ASEA business. And I would agree absolutely with that most of this is about personal development. Most of this is about growing. James Rohn made a classic statement many years ago. He said, "It is rare, if ever, that your income will exceed the level of your personal growth." And I absolutely agree with that. That in order to have more, we need to become more. And so, as you know, Doyle, and many of the people that are on this call right now, I'm a massive advocate of reading, listening to audibles, listening to information that will change your mindset. Many of us were not given the best start in life in terms of acquiring an understanding of what it might take to become successful. In fact, many of us had damage programs. We were told from a very young age what we can't do, that we're not able to accomplish, and we won't amount to much, and all these kind of things. Most people, many people, especially from our vintage, were taught these things. But the human brain is an amazing, what's the word I'm looking for? The human brain is so amazing that it can be recreated. The way that the subconscious mind works, it can be, there's an element, it's called neuroplasticity. What it can mean is that we can actually reprogram ourselves. We can reprogram our mindset, our belief system. And much of what we do in a business like this is to do with our own personal beliefs. And Tyler Norton, for those of you that were at the Envision in February of this year, said three things very clearly. He said, building a business like this, you'll require three significant belief levels. One is the belief in the company. One is a belief in the technology. And the third one is belief in yourself. And I think most of us struggle with that last one. I don't think many of us have a struggle with the technology. Most of us on this call, many of us have seen too much. We know you, Doyle, we know your personal story. So we understand what this technology can do. Many of us have also experienced the leadership of this company and the quality and the ethos and the integrity of the Nortons and the executive crew that run this company, which is, in my opinion, the most outstanding that I've ever come across in my life. So the missing element for most of us is our belief in ourselves and our belief that we can accomplish that we would like to do. So there's a great statement that some of you may or may not have heard of. We get in life what we expect, not what we want. We get in life what we expect. So expectation comes from belief. And there are ways that you can develop that belief in yourself when you might feel right now that you have limited belief in yourself. And through the audibles and through the books, and in some cases having a mentor, a coach that can help you with your mindset. I was with my coach today, again, to reformat my belief, reformat my framework of where I see the business going and where I see my life going in the future. So I spent a lot of time, I spent a lot of effort and energy and money on working my mind to create the kind of lifestyle that I want. And the kind of life that I want, and also to be able to be influential and being able to help other people that are on this journey with us, to be able to help them as well. And so it's not just about me. One of the great statements that I heard from one of the greatest builders of organizations like this in the world, in fact, a good mate of mine, Copper, reminded me of this the other day. This man, his name is Dexter Yeager. He's a legend in this industry. He said, my aim was never to become a king, but a kingmaker. And really, that's very significant as we grow our organizations. It's really about developing leaders, developing kings underneath us. But of course, in order to do that, you have to have some understanding of how that works. And a lot of this depends, I believe, on our ability to grow, develop, change our mindsets, have a different belief system, a different belief structure. Every single one of us on this call is capable of replicating what you've done, Doyle, and you've set a cracking pace for all of us. But there's nothing that you nor I have done that people can't do once they get their belief system in place. There's a lot of people that look at you and say, "Oh, well, I couldn't do what he's done." Well, yes, we can. Everybody can do that. There are some things that we need to find out. And one of the questions I want to throw back at you is, what is it that you do on a daily basis? What's the level of activity that you put in because a lot of this, as you know, Doyle, is work ethic as well. It's one thing to have great belief, but there's also work ethic behind that. I don't just sit in my audibles all day and wait for the phone to ring. It's not like that. But that is a very big part of what we do, is developing our mind, developing our mindset and our belief in ourselves. But let me just throw back to you, if I may. Just tell me a little bit about what you do on a daily basis and what you feel that you might do that may differ from some people that might look at this business and might be struggling a little bit with what they might need to change in terms of getting to some of the higher levels. So let me just pass that question back to you, if you can address that for me, please.
Just before you go into that, Danny, now that we've moved into talking about the business, if I might just add to what I said before, what I was introducing before. Look, folks, just in case you haven't guessed it already, with every great breakthrough comes great opportunity. And we have a technology that, according to, as I said, many scientific experts and medical professionals, everybody needs. We have a technology that, according to these same experts, would be scientifically impossible to not work on you. They work on every single person every single time. And we also have a technology that is heavily patented, which means we have no copycats, which means we have no competition, which means no one in the world has what we have, no one. Now, just to give you an idea of this company commercially, in 2016, they turned over in excess of $80 million. In 2017, they turned over more than $100 million. And we're set to do much higher than that this year. And the forecast is in the next 5 or so years will be $1 billion company. And we're looking for some people that we can, of course, help with this technology, but we're also looking for people who can help us on the way there. So that's what we mean by with every great breakthrough comes great opportunity. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind, Danny, jumping into how we do it, how you do it, how we do what you do.
Yeah, I'll probably just want to reiterate first what Malcolm said with how important personal development is, which I probably didn't think was too important for myself personally, thinking that I was 5'6" and bulletproof with what I'd already achieved with ASEA. Last year, I went to an Eric Worre GoPro event in Las Vegas, and Tony Robbins was there, and there were so many good speakers there. Walked in with my chest puffed out, knowing that I was one of the biggest earners in the room out of 10,000 people, and went in there, sat down, and it was a couple of day event. And by the time I walked out, I was a totally changed person. It really took me from here to well and truly the next level, because I learned so much. You can never, ever stop learning. I mean, Mal knows I don't read books, which I can see him pulling your face now, that it's something that you really shouldn't do. I'm a quite driven person. I've got a strong mind and just go out and do things. But as far as personal development, very, very important. Just to let you know how important personal development is, Eric Worre, he's significant in network marketing. He's probably the leading network marketing trainer on the planet. He and his wife spends $500,000 US a year with Tony Robbins on personal development. That's how important he feels it is to take himself and Marina to the next level. So when it comes to me building the business, I mean, I said I'm totally focused, but I can tweak things with learning from other people, and especially Mal. Mal's been a great mentor of mine for a very long time. But I get up in the morning and I don't stop from the time I get up. And, it's important to do that for me with what we've got in our hands, which is an incredible breakthrough technology, which we need to get to the world as quickly as possible. So I don't waste a second of my time, and I hopefully teach the team to do the same, because I don't lose anybody on my watch. And what I mean by that is we've got something that significant and high impact with this breakthrough technology that we can be helping people in ways that other people and professionals on the planet can't help people. So it's important to make sure that everybody that wants to do this is doing the right thing and saying the right thing. We've all made we've made a lot of mistakes, us guys on the call. We've made a hell of a lot of mistakes. We don't want anybody else to make any of the mistakes that we made. So the important thing is, obviously, when somebody wants to do this, is to build their list. And I continue building my list every day. So if Malcolm talks about my daily activity, I never stop building my list. It's called a living list. I keep adding to that list, and I make sure that I Obviously, when I started, talk to the most influential people I know, or the people that need this product the most. That is the most important target groups that I need to get to first. And then I go through those groups and I just keep working myself through everything on that, everybody on that list. But not only that, we've got contacts now, phone that we may not have added to it, or business cards, or databases, or Facebook, LinkedIn, any social media platform. So we just keep building this list. Before anybody goes out there and talks to anybody, they really need to know what to say. And the most important thing, or one of the most important things when it comes to building this business, is to make sure that we use a third party to edify what we're saying, or edify what we want to say. So all we're doing is going out there with our list and we're piquing interest to the point where we can get somebody, including me, that I need to get to you, Stevie, or to Mal, a third party, because I know people too well, and anybody that I'm talking to that I know well only knows me as me growing up as a little boy, Danny going to school, being in business. But all of a sudden, if I sound like this crazy scientist, I'm going to start turning people off. People are going to get confused. And, you know, we're going to start losing people. And we're going to start losing people physically for the business, but it's also losing people physically out there that need this product. So we always talk about, and it sounds a bit harsh, that people in the team really, if they do and say the wrong thing, we could be physically losing people. You don't want that on your head. So just get out there and pique interest. So in my daily activity, I'll be ringing people, contacting people that I know, that I've known for a year, that I've known for 20 or 30 years. I will pique interest by saying something like, actually, I'll give you the words you don't say when you're piquing interest first. You never use the word ASEA. Now, keep in mind, guys, we're not trying to hide anything from anybody. But if somebody Googles anything and they're looking for something that's negative, they're going to find it. I mean, if you Google that the FBI is a scam, it's going to come up. If you Google Mother Teresa is evil, it's going to come up. If you Google anything's a scam, it's going to come up. So what we want to avoid is people just going to do a Google search, getting the wrong information. So never mention the word ASEA when you're piquing interest. Never use the word Redox, because we own the Redox space. Redox acetylene molecules is ours. It's ASEA's. So if you put in the word Redox, if anybody does, it can lead back to ASEA, which is going to lead to maybe potentially some rubbish on the internet. And as we know, Google's a search engine, not a research engine. So we use about 3 or 4 or 5 scripts. You can get them off your upline. You know, come right back up to us if they haven't got it. But I'll just give you an example of one. So if I'm ringing Stevie, I'd say, hey, Stevie, I know we haven't spoken for a while, but I just want to let you know that I've come across a health breakthrough that's helping people with all types of health challenges. They're saying it's the single greatest health science breakthrough in our lifetime. I don't know too much about the science, but a friend of mine is a world authority. He's a very busy man, but I might be able to get him on the phone for about 10 minutes. Stevie, you really need to hear about this for the sake of you and your loved ones. So that's just an example of a pique interest script that we would use. That's the verbiage. It's just 2 or 3 sentences to get someone interested enough to get them to a third party, a world authority, an expert, to edify what you want to say, but you can't because you're too close. You know, I went back to my family 3.5 years ago. Unfortunately, when I went to my family, I sounded like this crazy scientist when I got all these physical results in 48, 72 hours while we were in Salt Lake City. They were all confused. They knew me as me growing up. And unfortunately, they didn't listen to me. And we're physically losing a lot of people in my family because I did that. So don't make the same mistakes when it comes to talking to your family and friends. Just pique interest. Get them to a third party as quickly as possible. So part of my daily activity is doing the calls or being the expert for somebody in the business that they want me to talk to somebody else, a third party, and making sure that I do the best I can with information that I can put on the table to make sure they're informed enough to make a decision what they want to do with what we have. So that's piquing interest. So you guys will become the expert. Don't forget, all you guys on this call, or the majority of you, know more on the plan. Just don't say too much when you're piquing interest. Just tell me when you got me again, guys. I've got a bad internet. Just wave to us. Can you hear us? Yeah. So don't say too much to your family and friends. Pick that interest and get it to a third party. Everybody in this business that I know that has tried to handle a conversation by themselves. Unfortunately, they bring about one out of 10 people on board. Anybody that uses us, utilizes us or a third party for calls, we're bringing 8, 9 out of 10 people on board. So third party edification, using the World Authority is very, very important. Even with my knowledge, I've got to come back to Stevie, Mal, Bart Cotter to use them as a third party to edify what I'm saying now. I've learned my lesson. The next most important thing, once somebody comes on board, you want to make sure, regardless of whether they're just using the product for a health challenge or they're using product for and going to build a business, they're going to get product experience. So we need to commit people to 3 months on the product. So I'm just going to talk about my daily activity. I mean, you can see my whiteboards behind me. I've got several whiteboards with, it's got follow-up on there with people that I'm following up, product experience, people that I'm following up to make sure that they've got product experience. I've got people that are building the business. I've got incentives and all sorts of things that I'm working with for people to achieve when it comes to what the company's given us as far as prizes, gifts, and what we can win as far as trips and whatnot. But as far as product experience, so we want to get people on the right product plan. Now, Upline has got product plans. So just make sure if you haven't got them, it's very important that you know the protocols and product plans for what people need to take for whatever they want to achieve, for whatever their body's going through. So that is as important as piquing interest in getting these people on board. So once you've got them on board, you want to make sure they experience the product. We do have the statistics on people taking the product from the company and what they're feeling and seeing. So I'll just quickly run through with you then, because you want to write this down to give these statistics to other people. 15% of people will feel or see something within 1 week. 15%, 1-5. 30% of people will feel or see something within 30 days. 60% of people within 60 days, and 90% of people will feel or see something within 90 days. So we want to make sure that once we commit someone to 3 months on the product, we make sure we work with them so they get an experience on the product, they feel or see something within 90 days. So anybody that comes to me and says, hey, I just want to try a bottle, I want to try a case, I just want to start up for a week or a month, I take the opportunity away from them. Because if they're on the product for a month and they're running around a little country town like Toowoomba or even Auckland, being a substantial city in New Zealand, these places are very small places. The world is a very small place. So if someone's on the product for a month and they don't feel or see anything after a month, they could be talking to people in the community and being negative about what we have our hands on. We know it's scientifically impossible not to work, and we just want to make sure that we don't have that negative PR out there, people out there poo-barring what we have when we've got the single greatest health science breakthrough in our lifetime. So what we do is we put people on the product, commit them for 3 months, put them on the right product plan. And what I do over the first few weeks, in the first week, I will contact that person every single day for that first week. Every day for the first week. Second week, every second day. Third week, every third day. And by the fourth week, when their auto ship's coming up and I'm calling them to say, hey, do you want to stay on your auto ship? They're going, don't take me off auto ship. Of course I want to stay on auto ship. Look what it's done for me. So you guys need to work with people to get product experience. So equally important with what I do with daily activity to make sure people are doing the right thing, to give you guys the right information and knowledge to make sure you're building a very strong structure to your business through your daily activity with getting people into the system, making sure that they're successful as quickly as possible with binary qualifying them, making commissions if they're building business. And just to give you a couple of statistics on that, when it comes to people building the business, 30% of people will drop off if they don't make any money in the first few weeks. I mean, you'll end up with a 30% retention. If you help people to make $1, and don't forget, any money they make is a direct result of the people they're helping. If you help people make at least $1 in the first week or two, their retention will go from 30% up to 70%. Then that's massive. I mean, this business is all about retention, customer retention, auto ship retention, people staying on the product and getting experience. So I can guarantee you by the end of 3 months, you won't be in the situation that Stevie, Mel, and I are in, because as I said, we've made all the mistakes, probably running about 30, 40% retention, which is exactly what the company's averages are, which is, mind you, 3 to 4 times the industry average, because we've got such a high impact product. Your retention with starting this business now, or being it in the early days, should be running at around about 70 to 90%. So please reach out to your upline to make sure they help you with 3-way calls, edifying what you want to say. You need to just make sure you're only peak interest. If you feel tempted to say any more than what we've discussed or what's in these scripts, just make sure that you're asking yourself a question while you're talking to people. You know, do I want to risk losing somebody out there because the person talking to me might get confused, too much information, or unfortunately do a Google search which will lead them to something negative. So never mention the word ASEA, never mention the word Redox, and get them to a third party as quickly as possible. I'm going to hand back to someone and have a drink.
Yeah, you know, Dan, while you do that, what I'm going to do, if you don't mind, I've had someone just say, can you repeat the you know, the results of, you know, what time frame this works on people. I'm just going to put them on the screen, actually, because there's another question I'd like you to ask. So, guys, you can write these down.
That'd be great. Put those percentages up, Stevie. But, you know, these are the percentages. What we're talking about is people feeling or seeing something. This works within the first millionth of a second of drinking the product. It's scientifically impossible not to work, guys. So what we're talking about here is, what we want to do is work with people to feel or see something. So I'll hand back to you, Stevie.
Yeah, so look, I mean, these are the percentages that Dan mentioned before on, you know, some people get quite a quick result and, you know, others take a little bit longer. You know, I think just my comment on that is that what the doctors and scientists have shown us through using this with patients and through third-party validation, through third-party scientific studies, this works on every single person, every single time. But what can differ from person to person is the time it takes them to notice and feel or see the change. That's what different. Now, Dan, someone mentioned in the chat box about, are any of the protocols in regards to serving suggestions that we're giving to people written down? I know that there's an answer to that, mate. Would you mind commenting on why that isn't done and perhaps why it would not be a good idea for someone else to run off and do that, and maybe explain a bit of the compliance factor?
Yeah, sure. So obviously this isn't a pharmaceutical product, guys. So on pharmaceutical products, it says take this and, you know, hopefully that'll suppress or get on top of whatever you're going through. This isn't a pharmaceutical. This is a supplement. We can't make any claims. I mean, the company's disclaimer is that ASEA, Renew 28, and the intensive serum is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or medical condition. So we can't put in writing any protocols, how to take, you know, this amount for this issue. So just talk to your upline and they'll be able to give it to you verbally. This is passed to the field verbally. And then we're always, you know, we're always improving or wanting to improve what people can take to help them for whatever they're going through. I mean, on top of what we've had, I mean, we've got this incredible supplement now called Source, which is a multivitamin, which Stevie can talk about as we go on tonight in detail. I mean, I'm going through all sorts of sensations and things with going on to this product and breaking out again, because my level of healing has gone to the next level. My cells are being fed the right nutrients on top of having the signals to call the body in to do what it does. So yeah, just make sure if you get these protocols, get them off your upline. If you're upline, just keep reaching up to your upline and upline till you can find out these protocols, guys. Always pass them on verbally. We do it one-on-one. We do it when things aren't recorded like we're on now, and we just make sure that we're not making any claims when it comes to this product.
Just on that note of compliance, Dan, and then I've got a couple of questions for you, Swordmaster. But just on that compliance matter, first, we also had someone ask And this person's from New Zealand actually, but asked why there's no presentation on the back of the bottle, of the back of the ASEA bottle.
Yeah, so in this, just let me know when you got me back. Okay. So guys, it's only the States. I mean, all the studies that have been done in the States. The States can talk about it, as in the United States. You know, you've got all the independent studies. When it comes to our bottle being trimmed down or leaned out with just having the word ASEA, not even cell signaling supplement and what's on the back, every country outside of America cannot make therapeutical claims because of how the product has been approved. So this has just been approved as a water or in the food category, and that's it. So as far as talking about how it works and what it can do for athletes, the studies are there, but in open meetings and presentations, we can't talk about that. We can refer back to America and back to the States. So when it comes to what is on their bottle in the States, when it comes to the studies, just send people back to ASEAglobal.com and ASEAscience.com, and people that you're talking to can go and read all that stuff for themselves.
Excellent, thank you. So look, when I mean, you know, I was very lucky enough to be personally introduced to ASEA by the greatness there, Danny Doyle, and I was one of those people that just learnt a very quick peak of interest line. I would call people, and I'd usually, most of the time, especially in the beginning, I'd just have Dan on the line on the phone with me, and I would just use a quick peak of interest pitch, no more than a few seconds, and then palm them straight off to Dan, who was already waiting on the line, and that's how I started. But you know what I have learned is that not everyone's able to do that, either through time constraints or through maybe not having enough belief in themselves yet, or they get call reluctance. The phone all of a sudden looks like it weighs 10,000 tons, and it's very difficult to pick up. So the Sword Master has been teaching me something very, very intriguing, in which a strategy that he has been using to build such a quick and successful growing business. Sword Master, would you mind making a few comments about the call sessions that you do with your team?
Sure. So one of the challenges a lot of people have with a business like this is actually connecting with people, and there are many different ways of doing it. I think one of the keys with a business like ours is to find what works well for you and then cookie cutter it. So once you've got something that works. But the other thing that we need to bear in mind is that building a business, organizations like this, is really about duplication. For those of you interested on this call to develop large organizations, it's not just about what you do or what I do, what Danny does. It's really about how well we duplicate. Ultimately, this is teachers teaching teachers to teach. And the better you teach your teachers how to teach, the larger the organizations that you can create. If you don't do that, you'll have a very highly paid job. And most of us on this call, I think, came, if we're looking to build a business like this, we're looking to create a residual income, a passive income, so that we have the opportunity of doing other things. In my own case, it's to leave a legacy to the lots of children I've got, the 8 kids I've got, and to do that properly. And so a lot of this is learning how to teach and duplicate. And one of the key things, I think, when people are making phone calls is to have a script, because when you have a script, it gives you power. And oftentimes when people go to the phone, they really don't know what to say to somebody else. When they get involved in a business like this, their conversations really are maybe not effective, and they're going to lose a lot of key people, and a lot of them will get blown out of the water. So one of the things I do with people is that I work with personally is to say, let me share with you what I say on the phone, and let me teach you the script so that you can then teach your people. And so what the script does is it gives people a sense of confidence. When they have confidence, then they can go to the phone with a little bit more courage and a little bit more confidence, because they know what they're going to say. There are only so many things that people are going to come back with. So my phone call is very on point. I ask a question, and a lot of you will have access to this phone call, I'm sure. the question that I ask of people, because I'm really looking for the builders, is Bill, this is the question I ask at the end, is Bill, may I ask you, are you open to looking at other income options? So the preamble, which is, you know, what I say on the preliminary information, is really to pique interest. And but most of what I do is to teach people how to use the script and how to develop the script effectively, so that when I teach somebody, they can teach somebody, they can teach somebody, and that it is highly duplicatable. Oftentimes, when people come to a phone call, a phone session with me, I'll make 3 or 4 phone calls, and then I will pass the phone over to them, and their phone call, let me say it, it's a bit of a train wreck, and they kind of know it's a bit of a train wreck, and so they listen more intently. And I said, look, here's the thing. I should be able to phone you at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you should be able to say that phone script to me. Because then you've got confidence when you pick up the phone, having a direction and a track and know where you're going with it gives people power. And again, this is for the business builders. If you don't want to build a business, then you can let this information go through to the keeper. But many of you on this call will be wanting to learn how to develop organizations. And so it's important to have a script, I think, that will then help you to teach your people what to say on the phone. And so I do a lot of this. I do a lot of work on this to help people to make phone calls, teach them how to make phone calls, and then to teach them how to duplicate that with their folks as well. So everything we do in a business like this is about duplication. So if you teach duplicable techniques properly, then your organization is going to grow very, very quickly. And I think that that's one of the key ways of doing it. I also know people are trying to build a business on Facebook. I'm not very good at that. We had somebody in the business, came to the business in 2016, middle of 2016, and he said to me, I want to build this without actually having to talk to anybody. I said, oh, well, good luck. It is about contacting people. You know, people aren't going to bite. I've been doing this for a long time. I've never had anybody draw blood. Not one in the thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of phone calls. Most of the fears we have are in our own mind. They're illusions. People, they're not going to bite you. The only thing that people are going to say is, no, thank you. No, thank you. Not looking. That's fine. Once you can build up an immunity to that, you're free to make an absolute fortune. And one of the things I'm concerned about a little bit is those people want to develop this on Facebook. I wonder whether you get through the level of personal growth that you really need to build a big business like this, because a lot of it really is fronting up to the phone and dealing with our challenges, dealing with our fears. And I'm very much about dealing with that and teaching people how to front up to that. And so I'm not saying it can't be built on Facebook, but I've yet to meet any triple ambassador, triple diamond like Doyle who hasn't picked up a phone. And, you know, maybe I'll meet one day, but not today. And so in the meantime, we have a phone that we probably need to get together with. Now, if you've got a problem with learning dealing with a phone, the best thing to do is to get somebody in your upline and say, can you help me? And let's get on the phone together, you know, so we can make some calls together and learn how to do this. And work with your upline, work with somebody that is reasonably good at it. And maybe you want to do that in a group format. You can get 3 of you together, 5 of you together, 10 of you together, and, you know, just have a bit of fun with it. It doesn't hurt. You know, get your butterflies fly in formation. And once you get that sorted, it's really, once you master that, you really master a lot about learning how to build a business like this.
Yeah, when it comes to picking up the phone, Mel, like that, great question, Steve. This is very, very important. A lot of people get caught up with analysis paralysis. They want to know the inside and outside of absolutely everything before they start the business. They want to start the business, but they want to know all about the science. They want to know about the compensation plan. They want to know about the structure. They want to learn everything before they start the business. I say the same thing. While you're learning all about that and not picking up the phone, you can be losing people out there. So just let me know when I'm still here, guys.
Yeah, you're still here. It looks like we just accidentally lost Mel. Yeah.
Yeah, so don't get caught up. Just make sure that anybody that wants to build the business with you or yourself, don't get caught up in learning absolutely everything about what we got our hands on. Just get with your upline, pick up the phone and start building the business, and everything else will happen. You can learn everything as time goes on. As commissions are coming in, you can learn where those commissions are coming from. And, you know, you'll pick up the one-liners that we know that help you then as an expert for your team when you're doing a 3-way call with your team. I mean, here I am worried and concerned about how am I going to learn the line that this is the single greatest health, science, anti-aging, and sports performance breakthrough of our lifetime. I don't worry about that now because that's in my head. You're going to find the more you plug in, the more you listen to these things, you know, you pick up the verbiage that you need to counteract anybody with. Just let me know when I'm here again. With everything that you say and do, just make sure you keep your posture. Even if you're piquing interest, make sure you keep your posture with everything. Posture is very, very important. We have absolutely nothing negative here when it comes to the technology, the breakthrough, the products, the company, the compensation plan, the infrastructure they've got in place, who's running the company. There's nothing negative about ASEA. So nobody will sidestep and get around me in a conversation. You need to get to that point, but until you do, until you're confident, just make sure that an upline, a third-party world authority, an expert, make sure that you're getting somebody to support you to do these calls for you and your team before you start burning everybody that you talk to.
Can I just make another comment about the phone calls? You lost me for a minute. My laptop ran out of battery, so I was off the air for a minute or two. So let me just ask people a question. If I'm brand new in the business, I don't know much about the ASEA business or how to build it, and Danny Doyle is my recommender. Which he is, or Stevie Aquilina, you're my recommender. And I've got, on my list, I've got, say, my top 30 to 50 contacts that I want to contact. And I know nothing about ASEA. I've really never made a phone call before in my life. Who's the best person to make those phone calls? Would it be me, or would it be Danny Doyle or Stevie Aquilina, or somebody who's well experienced? And this is important, I think, to make this point for two reasons. Number one is because I don't want that new person to make those contacts and blow their best 20 to 30 contacts that they've got. And two, I don't want my new guy getting blown out of the water because he doesn't know what to say and he's got no armor on. And so I want to protect him from that, and I want to help him to teach him what we say on the phone, and gradually to build his confidence and his courage so he can get on the phone. But I don't want him disposing of the top 20, 30 people. And if I leave my new guy out there to just get on the phone and say what he's going to say, he's going to lose a lot of the best contacts that he's got. And I might even lose him because he's going to get you know, a lot of negative, probably most likely, and it can damage his belief in the business and also in himself. So a lot of the reasons I do this is to kind of protect my new guy and to teach him and guide him and help him. So that's another reason I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, something that you've taught me, Sword Master, is learn, do, teach, learn, do, teach, learn, do, teach. And, you know, when I think back to how I got started with Danny, that's exactly what happened. I learned by Danny doing the doing. I got him onto the phone to everyone and I was listening in. And then that was teaching me. And then that's in turn, you know, allowed me to be able to teach others by changing that. We're at a stage now, you know, and thanks to you teaching us these call sessions that you're doing, we're at a stage now where we've changed that formula from learn, do, teach just a little bit now to do, teach, learn, do, teach, learn. We're doing the doing. The people who's given us the list are learning by listening so that they then can go and teach others. So, you know, you've said it to me, you know, we're not calling people for people. We're calling people for people until they can call people for other people. And you know, we're doing it for people who are just too busy. Like we've got some people who run very, very big businesses that just don't have the time. And that's why we have the list. But we also have lists of people who, you know, haven't figured out what the right things are to say yet. And also we're calling people who, you know, like, you know, might be feeling those butterflies in such an overwhelming way that the phone becomes very, very heavy and it's difficult for them to pick it up. They get call reluctance. And I've even had some people, and I know there's some people on the call that definitely been involved in call sessions with Mal, and I know there's some people on the call that have been involved in some call sessions with Sarah and I. So if you want to make comment about your experience during these call sessions, we'd love to hear it in the chat box so we can share it with others. But I even have people that I'm making phone calls for. I'm calling their list. They're just on mute listening. I'm calling their list and they're even scared of that. And what I said to those people is that, you know, I'm going to tell you a secret. And, you know, I've been, you know, selling on the phone for a while, and I was selling insurance and other things in the past. So I've been dealing with people on the phone and that for a while. But I'll tell you a secret. Even I'm scared I'm scared when I get the list. I'm scared when I read the list. I'm scared when I dial the number. I'm scared when the phone's ringing. I'm scared when they answered. I'm scared in my intro. I'm scared when the call's going well. I'm scared when the call's going bad. I'm scared when they're asking questions. I'm scared in the follow-up. I'm scared. But my trick is that I just do it anyway. I just make the call, and it does get easier. But even after all these years, I still get scared. But what motivates me is I'm more scared of not making the call. I'm more scared of not introducing this. I'm more scared of not getting this out there. I'm more scared of not getting the ranks. I'm more scared of not getting the results. I'm more scared of not developing the lifestyle. So I'm scared anyway. But
so courage is not the absence of fear; it's the mastery of it. And exactly the same. I've been doing this since 1980, and so I still go to the phone every time with trepidation. And it's just that I get the butterflies to fly in formation now. Whereas when I first started, they were going all over the place, but now I regulate them. And I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie. I kind of enjoy it, a lot of time, but I still have that. It still gets me going. It's still, there's nothing like when somebody says yes. I still find it exciting even after all these years. But it's not like that's not there with me either. It's not like I go to the phone and don't have any of these butterflies. I do. But I've been doing this, and I agree absolutely with your comment. What scares me more is not doing this. I didn't have a back door. Doyle, you didn't have a back door. It's not that we don't do this because of that. We do it because what if we don't do this? If you don't build this, what are you going to do? People say, what's the chances of my succeeding with this? What's your chances of not succeeding without this? What are you going to do? What are you going to do if you don't build this? Well, go to the 9 to 5 for the next 500 years? That doesn't work. We know that doesn't work. This is such a unique opportunity in so many ways for the health, for the wealth, and they're inexorably connected, I believe. People that have health challenges often have wealth challenges and vice versa. It's just such a unique time. And I've said this before, the income that Doyle is earning, there's many very, very large corporations that would love to have his bottom line. The man has no overheads. He has no staff. He has no stock. He has no leases. He has nothing. He just has this phenomenal cash flow from a business that he's built in a few years. Imagine the income that will be available to all of us in 2, 3, 5 years. We haven't even scratched anything in Asia right now. So the potential is enormous, and it's worth working this out. It's worth getting your butterflies to fly in formation. We're all scared. It's not that we're not. We are all dealing with this emotion. So I'm glad you raised that. That's a very important point. Sometimes people look at Doyle and they'd say the man's fearless. No, he's not fearless. Imagine dealing with his health challenge. I could not imagine what he had to deal with. I could not imagine the fear that he must have engaged with to deal with that. So dealing with that and picking up the telephone, this is probably not that difficult for him now. But I wouldn't like to have to go through the experience of what he went through with his health to have to, be a master of picking up the telephone. But we're all dealing with the same fear. It's not that we don't. It's just that we learn how to deal with it. And the rewards are phenomenal. And when you have a reason, you have to have a reason bigger than your reason not to do this. That's really a key. You have to have a reason bigger than your fear or your reason not to pick up the telephone. And when you get that reason, that dream, that vision, that belief, then it's not that difficult. And if you do feel like you need to stand on newspaper when you make your phone calls, like a little puppy, find somebody to help you. Guys, reach out. We are not good at asking for help as men. Ask for help. I ask for help all the time. From Doyle, I'm always on asking for help. Building the business. I'm always reaching out to people to ask them for help. I've learned that over the years. Don't be an island. Don't be, and you've got great strength in the weakness of asking. Ask questions. Ask for help. God knows I need it more than most people.
So going back only a handful of years, I couldn't get up in front of a handful full of friends and do a presentation. Just could not do it. It's exactly what you go back to and what you say about death taxes and getting up in front of people and talking in front of people, Stevie. You got me still? Yeah. So, for me, what you've got to look at is you've got to get out of your comfort zone. But come back to how have you felt when you have given the most incredible, exciting gift to somebody? When you're going to give a gift to somebody, and it's an awesome gift, how do you feel when you hand them that gift? you are handing somebody, when you pick up phone, the biggest gift that you can hand anybody in your entire life, guys. So don't hesitate to pick up the phone or talk to anybody in the street or anybody you come across, because it's our responsibility, what we know, to get this out there. Yeah, don't hesitate to get it to the world. So, I mean, you go back to the worst thing someone can say to you. I mean, even if somebody says no, you're not going to. But if you really look at the worst thing that someone can say to you, which might hurt you a little bit emotionally, Stevie, what's that? What's the worst thing someone can say to you?
It's not no. They can say, no, I can't join with you because I've already joined with Danny Doyle.
That's right, or somebody else, guys. So, you know, we've got to be quick. This is moving very, very fast. If you want to establish yourself in this business, if you want to get this to people, if you want to build a business, if you want to bring people on board, if you want to take on markets around the world, you just need to talk to people, pick up the phone, make sure you get your contact list in place, peak interest. Don't talk out of school with anybody you know, because it's just not going to work.
So, folks, just so you know, we want your comments and we want your questions to keep coming through. Even raise your hand. We'd love to turn on your mic so that you can actually just talk with us. Don't be scared. Do it anyway. And I'm not going to skip past your questions, but I am looking at them and I just want to try and keep them in context. So I will come back to your questions. Don't worry. Look, for prospects who say no, for people who say no when we introduce them to this, would you approach them again once time passes, and how long would you wait to do so if such?
Yeah, I mean, because they're from the mistakes we made. People won't say no to you up front anymore because you're using a third party to edify. So we're coming in, we're the expert, we're doing all the work. So just going back to when we did make those mistakes and people did say no, when you did send them something, which we don't send them information anymore before we get them to a third party. We don't talk to them. But these people that said no, just go back with all the new science, the scientific validation, the third party studies that have been done now, and just call them and say, hey, there's a lot of new scientific validation on the product, what this can do, and all these new studies. The science still confuses me, but now I also know one of the world authorities in the world, which I can get you on a phone call with for 10 minutes. And, you know, you really need to talk to them for the sake of you and your family.
Can I just make a comment here too? I'm listening to, I'm seeing a lot of objections on the chat box. They're the same objections that I get and Danny gets. Somebody says, I can't afford it. How do you get around it? Well, invariably you don't. The only thing I might say to them is, like, well, there's a way to solve that. That is to start developing the business so that you can afford it. But, you know, do I get people that say no? Absolutely. Do I get people that say I can't afford it? Yep. Do I get people that say they're too busy? Yep. Do I get people that say they're too old, too young? Everything. Yes, yes, yep. All to that. There's not the right thing. Sometimes people think that we have a silver bullet. It's not that we have a silver bullet. Here's the thing. You work the numbers until you find the right people. Zig Ziglar said years ago, remember, when you're searching for gold, you have to shift a lot of dirt, but it's really important to focus on the gold and not the dirt. We get no's, we get people, what's the right answer? I don't know. I don't have a magic answer to say to somebody that says, I can't afford it. I said, well, we can help you build the business. He said, I'm not interested in that. So thank you very much for your time. Have a nice day. And somebody says, I'm not interested right now. Do I call them back? Yeah. I say, look, is that a no for now or no forever? They say, oh, it's just a no for now. I said, no problem. Let me stay in touch with you. I'll come back to you sometime down the track. 3 months later, I get my phone and ask them again, has your circumstances changed? Something like that. Stevie, I just wanted to, I'm not quite sure, we're over an hour in now. I just wanted to, if it's all right with Doyle, I'm not sure if he's still on the line. I get asked, like we all do, lots of questions about, you know, some of the key ingredients, some of the key things that builds a business like this. And I'd just like to, if I may, if it's all right with you, Stevie, and you, Doyle, just to kind of share with people, because there's a lot of people on this call, I'm sure, that really want to build this. And I'm going to assume they want to build it to maybe not the heights that Danny has, but I'm sure that many people here would like to build a business like this to a level of financial freedom and independence where they maybe don't have to go to work anymore, or they can change their life. So I'm going to assume that that's going to involve developing, let's say, a six-figure passive income to $100,000 a year or more, which is substantial. Very few people in the world ever are able to do that. It's on offer here and it's very doable. Let me just share this from the many, many years of experience that I have in this industry. And that is this, that any one of you that's listening on this call, if you said to me, what's the most important thing or most significant thing I could do this year for my business to grow me, to develop my belief, my excitement, my vision in building the business, and that would be to get yourselves to Dallas, Texas, to the event of ASEA in Dallas in September. Now, people are going to go through mind games with that. I have a lot of people say, well, I can't afford to go. And I said, do you mind if I ask you a question? They said, what's the question? How long have you been working? And they said, well, I've been working 28 years. And I said, that might tell you why you need to be in Dallas. That might give you a reason why what you've been doing for the last 28 has not worked, will not work. Otherwise, we may well have this conversation again in 28 years from now. Is it convenient? Let's deal with that one. No, it is never going to be convenient. Success, you can write this in blood, is never going to be built on convenience. Success in anything is always built on inconvenience. So we need to square that one off as well. Is it convenient to, will it be convenient when you have $100,000 or $200,000 of passive income coming in? Yes, then it's convenient. Is it nice? Yes, it'll be nice. But when you go to Dallas and you meet all the people and see all the people that are building the business, the leaders are there. The people that are making six-figure incomes, they're all there. The people that aren't making six-figure incomes, they're never going to be there. So you can kind of connect the dots that if you want to be a six-figure plus earner from a business like this, then it's important for you to be there at this event. Why is it important? Here's what we know. Because you and I, we're all emotional creatures. We make decisions emotionally. People will not make decisions to build a business necessarily from talking to me or Dan or from listening to an audible. People will make a decision on emotion. And when you go to a major function like this, when you go to Dallas and you present yourself in that situation for 2 days, I promise you, you will be changed. The business will move from logic, from your head to your heart. And once you have made a solid emotional decision and a belief and a commitment, you will be changed. If you go to any Eric Worre presentation, I guarantee you he will be talking about the power of events. It is absolutely vital in this industry that we as a group of people, group of leaders on this call understand the significance of these events. I have learned over the years to promote. So you might have heard this statement before. The biggest promoters in the business always have the biggest organizations. And that is absolutely true. So for all of you that are listening and from everybody I will be talking to in my own organization from now on, it will be about getting people to this event. This is probably the single most important thing you can do for your family. And you have to go on faith on this, that this is where you go to this event, you'll make a decision. I hope that tonight you make that decision, you make that commitment to get to this function. And I really hope at the end of the time there on the 8th of September, at the end, that you come up to one of us and say, I understand. I'm really, really appreciative that you guys promoted this to me so heavily so that you understand this is where a lot of lives will be changed. You go to this function and you will make a decision, I guarantee you, to be amongst the leadership of this amazing company. It is absolutely vital. If you want to be a 6-7 figure earner, this is absolutely probably the most significant thing I think you could do this year. So I hope that helps.
There's no hype to what there'll be no hype at the event. You got me again, guys? Yeah, no hype at the event. Malcolm's not talking hype. This isn't making up numbers, guys. This will change your life. Totally change your life.
Absolutely. Look, Dan and Bart really encouraged me to go to my first convention in 2016. And my life completely changed from that first one. Then I was there again last year as well. It completely changed again. And then Sarah and I are very fortunate enough to go to one of the rewards trips, which was in Mexico, and our life changed like it had never changed before. And that was an absolutely magical, amazing, and very vital, very important experience for us. But the stepping stone to get there was going to these conventions. I don't know anybody that was at that rewards trip that was, experiencing a tremendous lifestyle and reward from ASEA. I don't know anybody who was there who is building a real ASEA business that didn't go to conventions, global conventions, as a stepping stone to get there. All right, so look, just very quickly, gentlemen, I've got one question here that I did pass. If someone is looking for validation on the product, if someone is looking for the proof, and if it is working, where would you direct them to very quickly?
Yeah, so just what we went through with ASEAScience.com, BioAgilytics is a third-party laboratory that Redox certifies that what is in this bottle now is not salt water. It's just made from salt water. It's trillions and trillions of redox heavy molecules. So just go back to ASEAGlobal.com, guys. If you're in any other country, as I said, that's what we point them in that direction to make sure they can get the validation from that website. Anything else you want to add to that, Stevie?
No, I think you covered it. Did you bring up the Facebook groups as well? Sorry, I was distracted by a message.
Yeah, I mean, if you're involved with this, if you've got an ID, there are various Facebook pages. So same thing, reach out to your upline, make sure they get you on 5. I think there's about 5 private Facebook pages now. There's a lot more, but the main ones are ASEA Healthy Self, ASEA Wealthy Self, ASEA United, Dream, Struggle, Victory, Cheer on Your Team, and also A Team Support.
Excellent.
And if you look at websites that can help you too with training, guys, ateamsupport.com, and password is associate with a capital A. I might get you to throw these up, Steve, as we're going through them, if you can. And also amazingmoleculestraining.com. So there's a lot of tools out there. Don't go out and reinvent anything. You don't have to do that. As I said, and don't worry about getting the knowledge about what this is all about and the structure of the business and compensation plan, guys, because while you're doing that, I said you're wasting time. You can be sharing this with people and learning it as you go. And it's very, very important to treat this like it is a business too, like it absolutely respects, because that's what it is. It is a business. This is a business model. And as far as I'm concerned, ASEA has turned this business model, the network marketing model, the multi-level marketing model, into the best business model on the whole planet. I've never seen anything like it, a compensation plan like it. I've never seen, I've been involved in a lot of traditional business. Got me back. Got me. Yeah, been involved in a lot of things in the past. This is the best opportunity I've ever seen in my entire life. So don't take it lightly. Treat it seriously. And if anybody who has been in business, obviously, if you go to your business, you need to run your business. And if you're not there, if you're not guiding and supporting your management and your staff, things are going to go astray pretty quick. So treat it like a business. Don't treat it like a $40 or $50 or $60 business. Treat it like $1 million business, because that's what it can actually pay. When it comes to anybody who's employed out there, you understand that if you go to work and you sit there and do nothing all day, you know what's going to happen to you. You're probably not going to last long. You're going to get sacked. You're going to get fired. So what I would suggest that you would do in this situation is if you have to, if you need to get yourself into the mindset where you need to treat it like a job, treat it like a job, and become the hardest boss that you can become on yourself. So when you're sitting there with a red wine watching television of night, and that's the time that you're building your ASEA business, you've got to sack yourself. There's no time for that when it comes to building this business. Actually, if I can throw back to Mal here, as the importance of this being front-end loaded with the energy that you put into this because of his experience in this game, and what you need to do at the beginning to get that momentum and traction.
So one of the keys that I think is very important is that when you go, it's the first 90 days is really critical. Again, I know Eric Worre is going to talk about this on the event he'll do on the Gold Coast. because it's about getting the business airborne off the ground. It's a little like the analogy I use is like you hop on a jet liner or a jet plane, and the pilot says, "Look, I had a big night last night. I don't think I can put the throttles right down to the floor. I'll just see how I can do, but maybe I can just put them down a quarter throttle today, and let's see how we go." Well, it's not going to get off the ground. And a lot of people come to this, they kind of poke a stick at it and have a go, and it really responds to activity. Most of the key leaders that I've ever spoken to, the big hitters, they talk about a 90-day blitz, 90 days massive activity in the first 90 days, really hitting it as hard as you can. Why not all the time? Well, most of us mere mortals aren't able to do it all the time, but you can do it for 90 days. And then it's like, well, you get it airborne, and then you can ease the throttles back and have it on autopilot for a little while before you go up to the next level, and then you do it again. You kind of build it in spurts like that. That's the best way of doing it. And remember, in a business like this, the speed of the group is the speed of the leader. So if the leader's operating at snail's pace, you can guarantee that your army has gone to sleep. And so it is a leadership-driven business. And so as we lead organizations, we need to show our people a clean pair of heels, show them a tail light. So that's what one of my mentors used to teach me. Show your group the tail lights and just set the pace like you've done for us, Doyle. We kind of watch your tail lights. I can kind of just see you up ahead on the mountain, but it's really good to have somebody to follow. And I'm ever so grateful for everything you've done in this market and also in the world, because it's what leadership is all about. Having somebody to follow is phenomenal. In Formula One, they call it slipstreaming. And we get extra power, we get extra acceleration or impetus because of what you've done. And I'm ever so grateful that you've done that for all of us, leading the way. It makes it so much easier for us to be able to follow. But it still means we got to do the work. I don't kind of wait for you to do all the work for me. It'd be nice if you did more, but, come and help me again. But it's really about, anyway, the point is the first 90 days are critical. Now, if you've been in for a year, 2 years, and you haven't really got off the ground, at some point you must perform. This is a performance-based business. We get paid on performance. And so there comes in a time in our life where we must perform. And right now, this is you performing, Doyle. This is me performing. And I mean activity-wise. Will it be forever? Well, it'll be as long as we can go and as long as we enjoy the journey until we get to a point where the business is big enough, whenever that might be. But you and I were talking about it, I think today, Doyle, that we're just enjoying this so much. This is the first networking business that, to me, that is absolutely not networking. Interesting, I heard Harry Yuan in Los Cabos said that same thing. He said he hated networking. His wife's been in every network known to mankind, and he hated it. And he said, this is the first network that is it's not like anything that you would ever do. And if you're in this business and never build any other organization, you probably don't realize just how fortunate you are to have landed in this business, but you still got to do something with it. So the first 90 days, whenever that might be, and that 90 days could be now, even if you've been at the business for 2 years, this might be your 90 days now. And I can tell you there's a very exciting promotion that'll be announced this weekend. And this is going to be a really good time to get your skates on over the next 90 days. You'll be very excited if you choose to put your skates on and really get going. And you know what? It's the most exciting thing you'll ever do. When you build an organization like this, you get it going. When you find your leaders, and you will find them when you lead, you'll find your leaders. There are people that are going to come and watch you burn. The old saying, set yourself on fire and people come and watch you burn, is absolutely true. And it's about getting yourself up to speed. And I was talking with somebody today, I can't remember who it was, but I was talking, I think it was Big Al, and in Toowoomba. And some of you may remember the old movie Ben-Hur, in the old Roman days, the galley slaves that were rowing the war boats, and they'd build up the tempo on the drums. The guy'd beat the drums and the poor old blokes in the galley would be rowing the thing, and they would build it up until they got to ram speed. And every so often with this, you have to move. If you want to change ranks, you want to build up to that ram speed. And you can't keep it up because the poor old galley slave would be exhausted. But for a period of time, you've got to lift to that ram speed. And when you're wanting to move on a rank, you want to work really hard to get into that and build your activity. But it's really good to do that at the very beginning to get this thing off the ground and airborne. And you know, it'll stretch you. You will need to grow, but it's also the most incredibly exciting thing that you'll ever do. To watch an organisation come together and watch your team build and grow your leaders is, I mean, for you, Doyle, you must pinch yourself looking at the organisation you've got and the leaders all over the world now that are emerging in your organisation. It's just very exciting to do this. Very exciting to be a part of this, and with this company, we're all so incredibly blessed to have this chance, and very grateful. I think all of us very grateful to be in this place. But anyway, give it some grunt. That's the message. I'm long-winded way of saying, get into it, make it happen. You're going to deal with your fears. Nobody's going to draw blood. The worst thing anybody's going to say is no, thank you. Big whoop. You know, let's get on with it. It's like come on, we need to do our zippers up from the front and get this thing built in a hurry before somebody else does. So the market, people sitting on your list, if you don't want them, somebody else does. So you better get on to them quick.
Yeah, you just got to get out there and create it, don't you? I mean, you know, people want to know that this is available. Everybody wants to know this technology is out there, guys. You just need to get out there and tell them. This is very, very exciting for me. It has been exciting from day one. Things are different all day, every day. I love talking to people. I know there's a message there. There's an MD from the United States who's been on this phone call since 4:30 a.m. this morning his time, which is just absolutely amazing. I don't know this MD Richard, but
that's Dr. Richard Michael. He's in Ed Ween's team.
Right, but I've just reached out to Richard, and I reached out to him on Facebook, sent him a message. He's got some relatives he wants help with here in Sydney, so looking forward to helping Richard. This is what we do. It's just a matter of doing whatever it takes to get this to the world as quickly as possible. And just keep in mind, guys, when it comes to that, and that's just a bit of an example. I mean, I've got people in my business, but at the end of the day, we're all one family. We're all here on this purpose-filled mission to get this to the world as quickly as we can. So just get out there and help whoever you can. It will come back to you in spades, whether they're in your business or not. We're all connected through the compensation plan anyways. But so just get out there and help every single person within this business to help achieve what we want to achieve with what we've got.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if it's one of the biggest things that yourself and Swordmaster have taught me is that success loves speed. That slow and steady does not win the race. The old fable of the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise didn't win because he was slow and steady. The tortoise won because the hare took a rest. If there was a third character in that fable that had the swiftness of the hare and the consistency and persistence of the tortoise, then that character would have smoked both those other animals. And it's the as Mel said, the pace of the leader that determines the rate of the pack. So and getting your mindset right, being scared and doing it anyway. Waking up in survival mode, that's something you've talked about, Dan. One of the keys, I think, to your success is every day, and still to this day, you wake up in survival mode. You must do this. You must do this for others. You must do this for yourself. Become
the leader that you want to attract. I mean, me getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning and then, just lazing around and watching a little bit of television breakfast and having breakfast and then, getting on the phone at 10 o'clock isn't going to help anybody, but those 3 hours are critical and crucial. I said, I don't want to lose anybody physically on my watch. So I do whatever it takes. I don't waste 1 second of the day to get out there and do that. So, and that's what I say to everybody on this call who's serious about building it. You've got what you want to do in life, what you have to do in life, put that in your diary, fill up your diary with, all the calls, the meetings, the events all around the world to make sure you're plugging yourself and your team into absolutely everything and be responsible for doing that. Don't depend on your team to do that. You're the leader. All your goals and your targets put into your diary and then fill up all those white spaces with three-way calls for you or three-way calls that you're going to do for the team. Keep that daily activity up for a year and you'll look back in 12 months' time and you will not believe what you've created.
Absolutely. Filling up the diary is such an important point. I found whenever I feel fear, anxiety, doubt, depression, it's because I'm not productive enough. The answer to every one of my problems I've learned from watching you guys, the answer to every one of my problems is more action, more activity, more production, more doingness. filling up all that white space on the calendar. When I leave white space on my calendar, I know the devil and I get together, and it's never good news. So yeah, keep busy. But look, guys, we've been on this call now for almost an hour and a half, and I could stay on all night listening to you guys. We thank everyone for being on that. And we've kept such a high volume of people on this call, by the way, too, right through it, because, I think that we could spend many more hours with you. But just before we head to the end, if there's one big, massive message that, you would want everyone to know, you would want everyone to get, you would want everyone to walk away with from this, what is it that it's vital for us all to know? Or have you said it all already?
For me, it would be, from a builder's point of view, for those of you on the call that really have a heart to build this for your family and for your future, even though you're fearful and concerned, the best advice I could offer you is to make the commitment to you to be in Dallas, Texas in September. And that's probably the number one thing that I would encourage you to do, to make a decision. It does a lot of things. It means you're committed. It means you're throwing your hat over the fence instead of hiding behind fear, and you make a decision. And the universe will always reward that. It will always reward the people that go in front and to do the things that are maybe uncomfortable and not convenient. But I've been doing this for a very long time, so I don't make that statement lightly. I know that a lot of you will listen to this and it won't be convenient, but it will be significant. And if that helps you to save you a year towards getting your six-figure income, that's what I would encourage you to do. With everything in me, that would be the best decision you could make, I feel. But thank you for allowing me on the call. I hope that it's helped, and look forward to catching a lot of you on the weekend at Fitzy's.
Thanks, Mel. Guys, no matter what you see, no matter what you hear, what you're feeling, never ever doubt what we have our hands on here. Never doubt the company, never doubt the breakthrough, the technology. You may hear some negative things from people in regards to what they Google. You may hear some negative results that people get with the product. We know it's scientifically impossible for it not to work. It's the biggest breakthrough in health, anti-aging, and sports performance we'll ever come across. So never ever doubt anything at all in regards to this company and their breakthrough technology. As far as the opportunity with what this has created, this is the biggest opportunity, the most compelling opportunity that I've ever seen. I don't think there will be a bigger opportunity than what we have our hands on. For those who are on the call, guys, just be consistent, be persistent, never give up. We need to get to the world as quickly as possible. We know what it's capable of. We know what it can do for people. Never be tempted to say too much. Make sure you're working closely with people coming on board. Make sure that you don't just get them on board, put them on the product, or start them in the business and just leave them alone. People need your support. They need our support. Please don't hesitate to reach out and let us help you to help others to make sure that we can complete this project, which is going to be never ending. It's a massive job, as quickly as possible.
And let me just close before you just close, Stevie, because I know you'll have some closing comments, but I just wanted to say thank you to Doyle for all you do, mate, for everybody. For your relentless work for everybody. None of us would be on this call if it was not for you. My boys would not be experiencing the improved lifestyle they have, and if it wasn't for you leading the way for all of us. So I'm so grateful for you, as I am for Virtus and this company. So tremendous gratitude. I take my hat off to you, and thank you for everything you do for every single one of us. We don't want to underestimate it. Prophet's never known in his own land. Never appreciated in his own land, but you're very much appreciated. So I thank you every day for all you've done for us so far and all you continue to do. So thank you for leading the way for so many people in this business. So really appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Here, Sword Master. I echo all the same to you, Dan, and also a ditto right back to you too. Sword Master. Much of Australia is what it is because of both of you. You're both incredible gentlemen, and we're so very grateful that you've agreed to spend this time with us this evening and with everyone on the call. So I want to thank you very, very much for your valuable time. We've gotten lots out of it. I know everyone on the call has too. And everyone on the call, we want to thank you too for staying on. And, you know, for those who are staying up a bit late, and for those who've gotten up really early from around the world, we thank you sincerely as well. We hope that, yeah, Dan, go ahead.
I just want to thank you, Stevie and Sarah, for putting this on. This call was specifically for New Zealand guys, just to let you know. We decided to open up to whoever wanted to come on. We're doing the same on Saturday, just to let you know. A very similar call to Perth, but we're going to open that up. But we just want to recognise the people that are on from New Zealand here tonight. There's a lot of people that do want to get the business moving. I know Jerez is on, who's an incredible leader over there. So Jerez, keep up the good work. I know that you're getting very active now, and you realise that this is a very important mission that we've got our hands on. And so we've got Saturday, guys. Go to ASEA AU Diamonds events on Facebook for all the Australian events coming up. We do have one in Brisbane this Saturday. They're coming up in Melbourne and Sydney and whatnot. Check out all those events. What else have we got? But I don't know if we can get Mal on Saturday again at midday, Mal, to talk to everybody from Perth and everybody joining from all around the world again to do something very similar. But we'll see what happens there. But it's going to be another good call with a lot of good information. So, guys, not only if you can get onto that call on Saturday, but bring as many people as you can that's involved in the business, because it is a training call. And as you know, on a weekly basis, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, we do have opportunity calls, opportunity meetings, Discover ASEAs, where you can bring on guests during the week. So thank you all for coming on. Thank you, Stevie. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks, Mal, for coming on. Hand back to you, Stevie. I'm out. Good night.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, it will be Saturday at 12 p.m. New South Wales time. Please work that out for your own time zones. But that's this Saturday, same bat channel as you're on right now, but 12 p.m. New South Wales time. Gentlemen, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Everyone. Please have a great evening. Wake up feeling great. Go out tomorrow and do great things. Be obsessed with greatness. Become great, because you deserve it, and so does the rest of the world. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.